Oh my god. Hollywood, enough is enough. Okay? All these ill-conceived remakes of classic horror franchises, you need to stop making these things. 9 times out of 10, the results have been completely miserable. And while this Child's Play remake may not be the worst of that group, just for a minute, consider how low the bar is right now. Say what you will about what the Child's Play franchise is producing in current year, I still maintain that those first 2 movies are genuinely creepy to this day. I mean, yeah, it's gone off the rails since then, but it had a strong beginning. So I didn't have high expectations for this remake, but I hoped that if they stuck to the originals for inspiration, maybe they could do something at least halfway decent. Yeah, that's not what happened. I'll start by mentioning the few positives on display here. First and foremost, Mark Hamill as the new voice of Chucky. Mark Hamill's an awesome voice actor, he knows how to sound creepy, so this was great casting. His Chucky never achieves the scares that Brad Dourif's did back in the day, but that's not his fault. If they couldn't get Brad Dourif to do the voice, Mark Hamill is the best we could have hoped for. And he does the best he can with the material, but there's only so much that can be done with it. Also, I liked Aubrey Plaza as the mom. Going in, I wasn't sure what she was going to do with a dramatic role, but she's very good here. And she has a nice rapport with the kid playing her son. They're very believable as a mother and child, and their relationship is one of the best things in the movie. Also, the kid playing Andy is surprisingly good. Child actors are a roll of the dice at the best of times, but this kid does a really good job with what they give him. The movie isn't good, but it's not bad because of bad child acting. Speaking of bad things, let's talk about the rest of this movie. I hate the new design of Chucky. I hate it. It's awful. It's too detailed, and frankly, it's just ugly. I don't know what the filmmakers were going for, but whatever it was, it didn't work. The original Chucky was so creepy because it was the soul of a killer in the body of something that looked completely innocent and happy and childlike, something that every kid in the country would want in their home. It's supposed to look unassuming so the characters let their guard down and feel safe around it, so it's that much more unsettling when the bodies start dropping. That's not what the new Chucky is. I mean, look at this! What kid is gonna want to play with this? This looks f***ing horrifying for all the wrong reasons. It's supposed to be a children's toy, but by trying to make it look intentionally scary, they did the exact opposite. Now it just looks like a typical 2-bit slasher villain, and that's not what Chucky is. And as bad as the new Chucky is, the movie around him is just as bad. This time around, instead of a doll possessed by the soul of a serial killer, Chucky is an AI that malfunctions and turns evil. Wow, how original. Like we haven't seen that story in every sci-fi movie made in the last 30 years. So in the filmmakers' efforts to modernize or update the story, they took an idea that was really unique and turned it into something incredibly generic that we've seen a million times before. It's such a lazy way to go, and it's so predictable what they do with it, because now Chucky's a smart doll so he can control all the electronics around him, because what Child's Play really needed to be scary again was for Chucky to be connected to the fucking cloud. And the way they use this as a storytelling device is just dumb. There are some kills in this movie that are downright absurd, and they're so overly complicated. Trying to incorporate this smart doll stuff, you can tell the filmmakers were so impressed with themselves and thought they were being so fucking clever, but all they did was take an already ridiculous situation and crank it up so much that you couldn't even take it seriously. Logistically, it's a mess too. There are several key scenes that rely heavily on Chucky being in places he couldn't possibly be or doing things he couldn't possibly do just because they need to move the story forward and they couldn't think of any other way to do it. What made the original Chucky menacing was that he was crafty and resourceful. He was trapped in this tiny plastic body that by all rights should make him pretty helpless, but he was still dangerous despite that. That's what made him a good villain. And because he was limited by what he could do physically, the writing had to be smart so he could still be perceived as a threat. But here, this new Chucky has all these crazy technological abilities at his disposal, and if anything, it just facilitates a lazy script, because they still have to take tons of writing shortcuts just to get the story from A to B. OG Chucky was more frightening with a knife than the new Chucky is with all the cloud-based kills this movie could possibly think of. But I think what bugs me the most about this movie is how tropey it is. This thing falls victim to so many of the cliches that have ruined modern horror movies, like thinking lame-ass jump scares are a substitute for genuine suspense and tension. They're not. Like writing completely disposable characters that are such flat, one-dimensional assholes that you know the second you see them that they only exist so they can be killed off, so you can't invest in them whatsoever. And then the biggest crappy cliche in modern horror, when characters advance the plot by being stupid. Andy in the original Child's Play was a kid you could root for. Sure, he was naive like all little kids are, but when the shit hit the fan, he was smart enough to actually act like a normal person would. This new Andy, I don't know what the hell this kid is thinking. In one scene, he walks in on Chucky strangling a cat. Any normal kid would know to run for his damn life when he sees that, but he just gives Chucky a stern talking to and then continues on like normal. Later, Chucky comes this close to stabbing someone right in front of him. Now at this point, if I'm Andy, I'm grabbing a sledgehammer and smashing that little bastard into a million pieces, but Andy just leaves Chucky in his room. Doesn't even turn him off, for crying out loud. It literally takes Chucky cutting someone's head off and leaving it in Andy's room for him to finally get the message. And oh my god, wait till you see what they do with that scene. Rather than, I don't know, tell an adult what happened, Andy tries to get this severed head out of the apartment without his mom finding out, and the entire scene is played for laughs. Because ha ha ha, murder and severed heads and traumatized children are funny, right? Right? Jesus Christ, it is the most awkward, tone-deaf scene you could imagine. I almost felt bad for the actors. If you want to make a horror comedy, make a horror comedy, but don't set out to make a scary movie and then put a scene like this in there, okay? It just doesn't work. Just like the rest of this movie just doesn't work. Mark Hamill, Aubrey Plaza, and the kid who plays Andy do an admirable job here, but those are really the only positives I can think of. In their attempt to remake and modernize the original Child's Play, all the filmmakers have done is take away what made that film work in the first place. The result is a generic, lazy, assembly line horror production that you'll probably find sitting in the Walmart bargain bin by this time next month. And that's a shame. These actors deserve better, and Child's Play deserved better too. If you enjoyed this review, please leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to smash that bell icon and follow me on Twitter using the link in the description box so you'll always be notified when new videos get uploaded. And most importantly, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel because the YouTube algorithm is more frightening than any half-baked malfunctioning AI, so it's very important that all of you like, share, subscribe. I'm gonna stay here and see if I can make this bastard bleed out.